I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record Newswatch. If the Valley View nursing home stays open beyond next July, it'll be because it's been successfully transferred to a private owner. Following the latest emotional debate, members of the Orange County legislature voted 13-8 to override County Executive Ed Diana's budget veto. But that was one vote shy of the two-thirds majority needed for an override that would have provided the $9 million to fully fund Valley View for all of 2012. The vote means the county will defund the facility as of next July. Bill Oliphant, the president of the CSEA unit that represents Valley View workers, wasn't happy that while 19 legislators had voted to restore funding, only 13 of them voted last evening to override the Diana veto.
How does a 19-2 vote suddenly become overturned? What changed? Absolutely nothing has changed. We have the same amount of money in the budget, the same situation in Valley View. What has changed? These folks, again, have succumbed to political pressures that they're all looking at that comes from the county executive's office. Think about the 360 residents out there now that are going to be up all night thinking about where they're going to be in 6 months. They're not giving themselves enough time to be able to do what they say they want to do with Valley View. Of course, we know that you can't sell that place in 6 months, so we know it means closing. We know it means chaos and confusion.
In a statement released following the vote, County Executive Diana praised those who upheld his veto, saying their vote was for responsible government and will help ensure the continued financial health and viability of all Orange County residents. The county's search for a private buyer now begins. Reporter Chris McKenna will have more on that in tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. Now that they've gotten their Port Jervis rail line commuters back on track following repair of the devastating damage by Tropical Storm Irene, the president of the Metro North Railroad is looking at ways to increase and expand commuter rail service in Orange County. Howard Permit talked about Metro North's quicker than predicted recovery from the storm, and he outlined a series of long-term goals during a speech this morning to members of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce.
We would certainly like to improve the line, have the funding so we could build a second track, build a midpoint yard someplace halfway along the line, and then we'd like to be able to have the money to expand train service. So that would be our immediate vision. Longer term, we would love to see some connection made into Stewart Airport, be it a rail line or be it a bus feeding the rail line, so that people who want to work or travel at Stewart can get there by public transportation.
Permit says it'll take a regional approach to line up necessary funding to get those projects off the drawing board, and he says a direct rail connection between the Salisbury Mills Station and Stewart Airport will only happen if the 3-mile corridor is left undisturbed and not used as part of any future residential or commercial development. Allenville police say they've tracked down one of the 2 men who broke into a home, assaulted a resident, and stole money and property after ransacking the Center Street residence. Police have charged 30-year-old Antoine Boykin of Newburgh with first-degree robbery for his alleged role in the theft of $757 and cell phones. One of the male victims was pistol whipped. The other was stuffed in a closet. The second suspect remains at large. About 45 Town of Minisink residents showed up at Town Hall last night to protest a plan that calls for construction of a $43.5 million natural gas compression station off Jacobs Road. Representatives with Millennium Pipeline Company presented their proposal during a meeting of the Minisink Planning Board. Opponents, like Westtown resident Janice O'Keefe, is concerned about declining property values and potential health risks.
I'm extremely worried about air pollution and breathing in carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, VOCs, and carcinogens. Those chemicals will then combine with rainwater, which will become our drinking water.
Millennium wants to begin construction by the end of March. Yet to be decided is who has the final say. Company contends that since the Federal Emergency Regulatory Commission must sign off, it is then exempt from local regulations. Minisink officials haven't yet received any documentation telling them that that's the case. Elsewhere, state police say they drive around the town and village of Liberty on weekdays and select homes to break into and steal property from. A subsequent investigation has led to the arrest of 3 Liberty Village residents, 21-year-olds Brian Hendrickson and James McDonnell, and 23-year-old Christopher Wallace Hill are all facing charges now of felony burglary. In Orange County Court today, a Newburgh man was sentenced to 12 years in prison for sexually assaulting a female acquaintance at the woman's home in the town of New Windsor. 39-year-old Eric Williams had pleaded guilty to a first-degree rape charge. The arrest came following a 911 call. The victim had an order of protection against him from prior incidents. The next person to walk into Gregory Rodriguez's Town of Newburgh home may want to be extra careful. Earlier this week, Rodriguez was bitten by his pet Mojave rattlesnake and is currently being treated at a hospital in New York City. No word on his condition. Authorities had yet to enter the Hill Road residence, but they believe the snake is somewhere inside. And a Christmas tradition continued last night on Newburgh's Lower Broadway, where residents gathered to take part in the city's annual holiday tree lighting ceremony. It featured songs of the season performed by the Salvation Army Band and the arrival of Santa Claus. The 35-foot high spruce tree was donated by Dr. John Terizzi of New Windsor and is adorned by more than 2,000 lights and assorted ornaments. A Christmas tree has been put on display at Lower Broadway in Newburgh for more than 30 years. We were treated to some mild December weather today. Tomorrow will be partly sunny and a little chillier. Friday with the highs in the upper 40s. Saturday will be partly cloudy and more seasonable, with temperatures not expected to get any higher than 40 degrees. For a complete wrap-up of the day's news, weather, and sports, as well as feature reports, pick up tomorrow's edition of the Times-Herald Record. And for breaking news, keep clicking back here at Record Online. For Record Newswatch, I'm Tracy Baxter.